out, summer's here, and your teen is having a meltdown. Sounds surprising, but it happens. My next guest says a lot of teens experience summertime stress. Child psychologist Dr. Adam Schwebach has strategies to help parents identify and manage your teen's summer anxieties. It's great to have you, but I'm confused. So, no stress, no homework, no teachers, no assignments. So where does the anxiety come in?
You know, I think sometimes we think summer is supposed to be fun. We're not going to worry about anything. But a lot of teenagers, they get stressed out. You know, they're worried about summer projects. They're worried about whether or not they're going to miss out on activities. I think parents get stressed. What am I going to do with my kids all summer long? So it's a little surprising, but I think that anxiety doesn't always go away in the summer.
So would you call this common, that stress can linger, that anxiety can even flare up during the slower season?
Yeah, it's very common, especially during these transition periods where we're used to a routine, we're used to a schedule. All of a sudden that schedule's kind of out the door, and we definitely see a lot of anxiety this time of year.
So when, Adam, should parents worry? When should we be concerned?
We worry when anxiety sticks around, you know, when it sticks around like slime. So when we have the slime and it's sticking around, that anxiety doesn't want to go away, or that anxiety is really starting to impair our daily functioning, that's when we start to worry about anxiety.
I'm always impressed with you, but the fact that you worked slime into a conversation on anxiety is super impressive. Do teens recognize when this is happening? Do they even recognize, I'm anxious, I'm stressed?
I think teens have a hard time identifying. I think sometimes they call it, you know, they're frustrated, or they're just irritable, or they're agitated. And that's what we see teenagers describing to us. They may not describe it as anxiety. We have to help kind of coach them along to identify what it really is.
So you do warn parents, don't expect to eliminate it altogether, but how can we start to help them cope and help them deal?
Yeah, anxiety is a normal human emotion. We can't get rid of anxiety. We just don't want anxiety to hang around like a bad storm. We want to learn coping mechanisms, and it depends on if that anxiety is something that we're just exhibiting during the day or if it's persisting for long periods of time. A lot of what we're trying to do to help parents with anxiety or teenagers with anxiety is to help them change their thinking and really change the way they see the world.
And that boils down to these coping skills that I know you teach in your practice and help parents and kids work on together. What coping skills can parents be helping to enforce on the front lines?
Well, there's always strategies to help reduce anxiety when you're in the moment. So if you're having like an anxiety attack, we try to teach you strategies to breathe deeply, kind of control your body, try to help reduce that stress that you're feeling in the moment. But more importantly, we're really trying to help parents or teenagers think differently. Sometimes anxiety traps us. It wants us to think very irrationally. Anxiety wants us to think in these extreme measures. And we have to help people kind of understand that anxiety is wanting you to think that way, but that's not what reality is. We want you to try to be more rational about how you're seeing the world.
And anxiety speaks to our mental health, but you don't want parents to disregard physical health as well. Exercise, nutrition, it all goes hand in hand.
Absolutely. I think a lot of times we're overstressed, we're busy, we got a lot on our plates. Sleeping is a huge factor with anxiety. If we're not getting enough sleep, teenagers seem to sometimes have trouble with that.
Can I ask you about the sleeping side? Because I think there are parents who say, gosh, my teen sleeps too much. Is he depressed? Or it could be on the flip side, like you said, my teen doesn't sleep enough. Is he anxious? What's a good healthy balance there that you recommend?
We think teenagers need at least 8 to 10 hours of sleep a night, and so that's a healthy dose. So if your teenager's sleeping about 10 hours, that's okay. If they're sleeping 12 to 14 hours, not so much. But we really want to try to make sure they're sleeping at good times, having structure, routine with their sleep patterns. That's a very important factor for them.
You mentioned a minute ago that parent stress can spike during the summer season, right? Because they're dealing with arguably a little bit more of a responsibility load when the kids are at home. Does our stress impact our kids' stress? I think I know the answer to that, but I'll ask it anyway.
I think it's human nature. We feed off of each other with that. Again, if we're not in a big structure, our structure is really thrown off in the summertime, and that stress comes on to us as parents. That's going to feed into our kids, and vice versa. You know, if they're stressed, we're going to be stressed as parents. You know, parents worry about their children, and that's a natural thing.
Adam, what do teens need most from parents? What can we give them, especially with the summer season in mind, this looser, structured season in mind, to help them succeed and feel happy? Obviously,
structure is going to be helpful to some degree. I really encourage parents to really be thinking about how much screen time their teens are on screens. And those screens can be a huge impact on that. So reducing that screen time, monitoring that screen time. The other thing is, you know, summer is here. We need to have fun as a family. We need to build relationships. And you hear me speak about this a lot, you know, with our teenagers. teenagers, it's all about that relationship. We need to be working on that in the summer.
Is there an upside to anxiety? Any life lessons to draw from this challenge or this trial, if you want to call it that?
Well, anxiety does drive us. Anxiety keeps us motivated. Anxiety helps us to get things done. We just want to make sure it's healthy. We want to make sure it's not overwhelming. We want to make sure it's not impeding our ability to do the things we like to do, and that's important.
If parents need help, if families need help, how can they get in touch with you?
They can always find us online at our website. It's npcu.net, and they can always track us down that way.
All right, thank you so much. Good advice
Claire.
as we start this summer season, kind of an unexpected parenting strategy you might be glad that you have.